Hi and welcome. And for you right now watching this video, wherever you are, you're going to enjoy a very fast-paced time together. Let me just give you a bit more of an introduction so you feel content for the next couple of hours together. My name is Schuller. At the age of 19, I lost my left eye in a car crash. A few months later, my dad committed suicide, and a few months after that, I got divorced. But apart from that, it was a good year. I'm sitting in bed feeling sorry for myself, and a nurse looked at me. She said, "What is your problem?" I thought, one of us has brain damage. How would you feel if you were me? She looked at me, she said, "Lucky. Concentrate on what you've got left and forget about what you've lost." I thought, you stupid woman. But when you think about it, when you're faced with adversity, what can you do? You can focus on the problem or look for the solution. So I looked up at the heavens in those days and I said, why me? I've got to just tell you, at that stage, I was 19, I was a skinhead. I'm returning that way, but not by choice. Heavily tattooed as I am and earrings in my ear. And I left hospital feeling really angry. Why me? And at the time I was unemployed in England, so I went to a job centre, I dressed up for it, I put on a t-shirt to expose my tattoos, left my earrings in, and went for a job interview. The guy looked at me and said, "What would you like to be?" I said, "A bricklayer." He said, "Why?" I said, "Why not?" He looked at me again and said, "I'm not going to argue with you." He said, "But have you ever thought about being a salesperson?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, you should. Despite your appearance, there's a job going for a 25-year-old. You get a company car, salary, commission. Do you have a suit?" I said, "No." He said, "Borrow one, take those earrings out and do something with your hair." Well, I looked at him as he was mad. I was a skinhead. Anyway, I borrowed the suit, polished my head, turned up for the interview, and I got it. Within 6 months, I was the #1 salesperson in the whole of England for this company selling stationery. They were amazed. How does this guy do it? So they sent a clinical psychologist to go with me for 2 weeks to evaluate what I was doing that evidently the others weren't. And copious notes were taken. After 2 weeks, the report came back and read, "We don't know." And during the course of this program, you'll realise there is no secret to success. Often we're looking for things that are just basic. As I said, my father committed suicide, and I got a phone call from Australia from my mum, who I hadn't seen for many years. It was gut-wrenching, and she said, "Well, now your dad's died, come back to Australia and see me." So we did, myself and my wife. And I remember the feeling of seeing her for the first time after many years, and the impact of seeing my brother and my family. It was just gut-wrenching. And it was wonderful, and I found it very hard to return to England. As a consequence, my wife and I separated, and I stayed in Australia. And after a little while, I got my British passport stamped saying you can stay. It was time to go back and get another career in selling. And I joined a large worldwide organisation selling photocopies. And it was interesting. I looked at my colleagues. In those days, I was half their age and probably twice as fit. And most of them had bad backs. And I thought this was interesting. Why would they have bad backs? Well, they were selling photocopiers. And what they were doing is busily taking these machines out to demonstrate them. And as a consequence, often getting a hernia. And it soon dawned on me that people weren't buying photocopies. What they were really buying is what those photocopies could do for them. And I realised I never had to take out a photocopier. All I really had to do was take out a brochure. And I'd get to the appointment and the client would look at me and say, "Where's the photocopier?" To which I'd say, "Which one?" "Well, what ones have you got?" "Well, which ones are important to you? What would you like them to do?" You see, the point is people don't buy the machines, they buy what the machines can do for them. And I found that by fact-finding first and establishing what people were really looking for, I was then able to match the right machine accordingly. So often I'd ask enough questions and they'd say, "Well, we need to do 20 copies a minute." "Why is that important to you?" "For expedience." "And what sort of things do you photocopy?" "Oh, very important documents." "And where do they go?" "They go out to customers." "And what do they say?" "Well, they're often proposals." "And how important are these proposals?" "They're imperative." "Why?" "Well, when people receive the proposals, if they read them and they act upon them, we'll make more sales as a consequence, which means we'll make more money." "And what would you do if you made more money?" "We'd buy the factory we've always wanted in 6 months' time." And I'll share this with you later, after listening, I was able to say, so if I could show you and demonstrate a machine that could do so many copies per minute in quality, which enabled you to get these important documents that you've told me are important out, giving a proposal to your potential client, they respond accordingly, purchase more of what you sell, which means you can have the factory you've always wanted in 6 months' time, would you be interested in discussing it further? And invariably the answer was yes. And I realised there the art of communication and selling was establishing what somebody really wants and then giving it to them. And then I would pull out the brochure and say, "Well, this is the machine I believe is right for you." You see, again, people don't buy products and services, they buy what those products and services can do for them. And my life changed significantly in 1986 when I just made a sale of a photocopier in St Kilda Road, Melbourne. And as a consequence, the gentleman started to write out a cheque for the machine and then a second cheque. He said, "By the way, how do I spell your name?" I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, I want to write out a cheque for you." And I thought I was about to be compromised. And I said, "Well, what's that for?" He said, "Well, let me explain to you. When you came in here today, I had no intention of buying a photocopier. So whatever you've just done to me, I'd like you to teach my people."